Gold Rocks event on a Monday night. So we've got a few interesting things to go through tonight. Some of the normal things we talk about and some really different views on a number of things. So this is a critical event for us in the Gold Rocks world. We need to make sure that we have everything underway, and we need, oh, I forgot the wrong date. Oh, it is the wrong date too. Good on you. On you that. I'll just put that in there to see who was paying attention tonight. And you passed the test, Mr. Brent. Well done. Okay. Everybody goes forward together. Isn't it up, Vivian? You know, nobody likes a show off. Yes. I changed some of the things on that slide, but the date somehow eluded me. I had the date right on the name of the presentation. It's pretty interesting, isn't it, that some of the very obvious things you miss when you read something 50 times. Okay. Everyone goes forward together is our catch cry, and we are determined that that will happen every single time when we go to war, go to business, doing things. We're determined that everybody that's in the Gold Rocks team gets the opportunity to go forward. Hello, David. Good to see you here. So if you're new to the gold business, we're evolving a little bit at the moment. We're trying to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to create some cash flow out of this business, create a lifestyle, create what they want out of the gold business. So tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to have an open session towards the end where we can have some discussion and some questions. So let's get right into this. Welcome, everybody. Let's have a little bit now. Oh, here's a new thing I've tried to work out. Let's see if this video plays from Kitco News right from where it's supposed to. Let's see. Oh, it's working. Except we don't have any sound. Right, let's go over here and we'll pause it, and we will go back here. I know why it did that. I had this happen the other day. We'll play it and we'll go. There you go. Don't you just love technology?
Welcome to Kitco News. I'm Niels Christensen, and welcome to our continuing coverage of the Mines and Money Online Connect Virtual Mining Conference. Today, we're speaking with the illustrious Rick Rule, President and CEO of Sprott US Holdings. Rick, welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Pleasure's always mine. I'm a Kitco fan.
So I want to get this from you first. I mean, at the start of the month, we saw gold prices shoot well above $2,000 an ounce, all-time highs. This is something we've been waiting for. We've backed off of those. Do you think there's more to come for the rest of the year, or have we seen the best gold has to offer?
No, I'm afraid that gold goes higher, probably much higher. It, of course, will go higher with lots of volatility. It doesn't mean it won't go down a little bit before it goes up. But I truly believe, for reasons that I think we'll discuss later in this interview, that the wind is truly in gold's sails, that the circumstances that are propelling gold higher are uniquely positive for gold and probably uniquely negative for most other aspects of your life.
Well, and so let's talk about this volatility. A lot of this volatility has been caused by our favorite topic, the Federal Reserve. We saw gold sort of give up that $2,000 area after the Fed minutes showed the committee talking. They see no benefit to capping interest rates. You know, gold sold off then, and now we've just heard Jerome Powell at Jackson Hole talk about the Fed wanting to have an average 2% interest rate now. This is causing a lot of the volatility. What's your thoughts on all of this messaging from the U.S. Central Bank?
I think it's messaging. I think the central bank has their task cut out for them, and I don't think that they're up to it. They have a circumstance where the voters and consumers and Wall Street won't let them raise interest rates. Interest rates need to stay artificially low, but they aren't getting the same fiscal stimulus economic stimulus for every dollar. So between a rock and a hard place. As you know from prior interviews, I'm not much of a fan of the Fed, but I have to say, given the set of circumstances that they have to do with, which is, from my point of view, effectively an impossible task, they're probably doing, from their point of view, as well as could be expected. Understand negative real interest rates for what they are. They're a war on savers by spenders. And in a democracy, the winner of that war is foreshadowed, given that spenders are so much more numerous than savers. And so from a political point of view, the Fed is doing the only thing that it can do. And I think that's very, very good for gold.
Well, I mean, it does feel like, we need to ignore the messaging and focus on the trend, which is interest rates are not going anywhere. Real interest rates are going lower, and money is going to be continued to pump into financial markets to support this economy. I mean, is this where we go?
Absolutely. I don't see what their way out is. When I was a young man coming up in business, we had this now extinct species called the business cycle. We would have recessions. And if you had 5 or 6 good years, you needed to use those 5 or 6 years to tuck resources away in order to save so that you could weather the bad years. That's the way it was. We have decided in our wisdom that we're not going to have recessions and recoveries anymore. Every month is going to be July and August. But that's not the way life works. And I'm afraid that the Fed will discover eventually, well, they probably know it, but the voters and consumers will discover that artificially low interest rates, which is to say negative interest rates, are, as Buffett said, not a force of nature. They are created circumstances, and the benefit that they buy you is short term, and it comes at a fairly substantial long-term price. And I'm afraid eventually we'll have to pay that price.
Well, but it's also more than just monetary policy. I mean, we also have to look at fiscal policy as well. And I think coming into an election year, with the election only a few months away, how does...
Okay. Well, what we discovered was it started at the right place, but didn't end at the correct place. So never mind, we got one end of it right. But in principle, what they're talking about is the US Fed and the Australian Reserve Bank are doing the only thing they know how to do, and that is print money. And ultimately, that will cost each of us individually a lot. For the first time since World War II, the US national debt is worse than the GDP. So there's no way they can pay their way out of it outside of many, many years of really tough fiscal policy. Now, this is our usual slide. We are expressing our view as affiliates only. We don't represent any of the companies that we affiliate with. We had to do that because of some changes, and we do not give financial advice. So let's just be really clear that there are changes afoot. Some of them are good, and some of them we're not too sure about yet. So we're anticipating that everything we do in the gold business will continue. We may do it a different way. So that's what our roadmap is about tonight. We have some things to discuss. We will have an open mic where you can ask questions, voice opinions, do all those sorts of things. That's what this group is here for. So as the companies that we affiliate with evolve, so too Gold Rocks must evolve. We need to keep up with what's happening in the world. And scarily, the economics of what's going on in the world is getting worse at a rate of knots. And we need to make sure that we are prepared for that. Again, remember, everyone goes forward together. So let's have a look at this little video about how bad are things really. Most of these are American numbers, but the numbers in Australia match, and in fact, in some of the stats, they are worse. But I couldn't get the Australian one edited in time to get in the presentation tonight. So let's have a look at this.
Jobs are coming back. Jobs are plentiful. That's what we were told, but the jobs were offshored. The primary sector for jobs is no longer manufacturing, it's retail. Lower paying in many cases, but now in 2020, it looks like retail just got a big stomping on, which has accelerated its decline. That's not a good scenario for the future of jobs. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, we're going to look at what's going on with the job situation. I'm going to give you an update on what's happening with the layoffs. We're going to look at the stock market as well. I want to show you how exaggerated it has become. I'm going to show you some information that we generally aren't going to hear in the mainstream news, but I put it together in this video. Let's get into it right away. Job growth appears stuck in neutral after enhanced unemployment expired. We knew that this was coming. We knew that they wouldn't be able to grow from this point on. There will be a level of stagnation for a period until things can get back and growing again. All we need to do is print several $1 trillion more. We need to go into another deficit for the US, multiple trillions of dollars. They need to expand the debt. They need to increase taxation. They have to create more austerity on the people, and that's it. That's the solution. It's so fantastic. It's definitely going to work out. I see a lot of positivity there. Data from the staffing firm Homebase showed that the time worked by hourly employees at small and medium businesses was still more than 20% below where we were in early 2020. This is important because they track all this data, they see it all, and it's just one statistic as always. However, I love the fact that they're using small and medium businesses because that's the majority. That's where most of the stuff is happening, so we can track that. And this is just one stat. You know, if you look at what's going on with the airlines, are people flying, and are they using different tourism companies and maybe the restaurants? And we start pulling the data from all these different places, and things start to make a lot of sense. If we are only going to focus on the PE ratios, which I will cover in this episode, you're going to get a very small picture. I noticed that a lot of very inexperienced, I don't want to call them investors, but people who put their money into stocks are looking at very basic things. They say to themselves, I am going to invest in 7 shares of Amazon. Why? Because I buy everything on Amazon. My friends buy everything on Amazon. Amazon is looking to grow. Amazon has been hiring people, and most importantly, the stock has gone up. If I look a year ago, if I look 5 years ago, the stock has gone up. Therefore, I'm going to buy those 7 shares of Amazon. The same thing applies to Apple. Oh, I know everybody is buying from Apple. Everybody wants a new iPhone. New iPhones are coming out. If I wait a year, another iPhone is coming out. People line up for the iPhone. This is it. They are now getting into services, and that's expanding their business and their bottom line. And they're the biggest company in the world, and the stock can go higher and higher and higher. But this is not the way that analysis happens. This is the way that bubbles are formed. They continue to go up and up and up, and they defy logic. They defy everything. If you look at what was happening in January, there was a real serious scenario all around the world that should have spooked the US markets. The other markets were getting spooked already. We had problems in the economy and so on in different spots around the world, but the US market just kept going higher. And then it was beaten down so severely. And why? Because it accelerated despite all of those problems that were happening. That needs to be understood. U.S. private payrolls miss expectations point to slowing labor market recovery. There are the numbers if you're interested. This is more of just the same information. All I'm showing you here is that they would tell you that the growth is this way, or the V-shaped recovery that everybody wants to see. But unfortunately, it's looking a lot worse. And for some places, it just won't recover. That's just a matter of fact. And when the system has been set up and designed in a certain way that makes recovery more difficult, certainly you're going to expect this, and that's what we have. Exxon weighs global job cuts after unveiling Australian layoff plan. They cover some of the details. The actual total amount of jobs has not been disclosed yet as far as I'm aware, but this is yet another company. We're talking about a company that not that long ago was the biggest in the entire world. It really wasn't that long ago, I think 2013 or so, and now today it looks like a completely different scenario. That right there just shows you how much can change in a short period of time. It's unfortunate to see the way that we have jobs that are truly being affected by this. And you might say to yourself, well, it's just one company, but it isn't. Look around and you see how much of an impact this has had, not just on JCPenney and Sears, but of course on companies like ExxonMobil as well. So I had talked about this in the previous video I had done. American Airlines cutting 19,000 jobs, United Airlines cutting 16,000 jobs. But check this one out. Cost cutting includes airline jobs. Around 190,000 airline job losses announced so far. This, of course, was all around the world. You can see right here on the left-hand side, airline redundancies announced. Love that word they chose. On the right-hand side, employees per 10 million ask. I've covered many of these throughout the weeks, so you probably know about a lot of them. But we are really encountering a scenario that is not going to be resolved in 2020, in 2021. Many have said 2022 and 23 are when airlines will start to be back at the levels they were at before. That means it missed out on all that growth. That means all the job opportunities and situations that are going in line with that. How much of the robotics and automation will replace some of the jobs that were there previously? What's going to happen to those people? Are they just going to hang out for a few years while this all really resolves itself and people feel more comfortable and so on, on the whole deal? But this just shows you an outline of what's been happening specifically with the airline jobs. I've covered why the inflation rate is not real, and this article actually got into it, so I thought it would be interesting to cover very briefly. The latest inflation statistics say that prices have risen by only 1% over the past year. Right away, for anybody who's informed, that should be sending off warning signals, flags, every siren and light should be going off. I mean, come on, 1%? That is so ridiculous. But there's something wrong with those numbers, because this situation in 2020 has made economic life more expensive in ways the official bean counters aren't capturing. This distortion has led other economic statistics to paint an artificially rosy picture of our current situation. The problem is that measures like real output, real wages, and poverty are calculated using inflation adjustments that don't reflect the higher cost of living that we are seeing today. Look at food prices, look at energy prices. Things are truly very high. This might help explain why measured poverty has fallen even as lines at food banks have grown. There's more in here if you want to read it, but I just thought it would be interesting to cover for a second while we really deal with the problems that cannot be resolved by printing money. Isn't that interesting? Inflation rate going higher, the real inflation rate, food and everything else that's been adding up, that puts a huge burden on those who don't have that income right now or are right at the line. This ends up pushing them over. This is a serious scenario for a lot of people. Even New York City's Michelin-starred restaurants are struggling to survive. Right here, it's not just McDonald's and your restaurant down the street. We are talking about some really high-end restaurants that don't have the amount of people that were coming in before, and they're going to shut down. There is some detail in here if you want to check it out, but essentially we're looking at this all across the spectrum, and that's why I'm pointing it out here. I've been touching on this all along, different retail establishments. This happens to be restaurants. Everything seems to be affected, and this is going basically all around the world. US debt is set to exceed size of the economy for the year. It's the first time this has happened since the 1940s. This is unbelievable, but it is expected. The expenditures have gone through the roof, and at this point, nobody's going to say don't spend any money. They're just trying to decide where to spend the money. They don't even care really at this point. It's all garbage. When I see the news pop up, I can't skip it fast enough when we're looking at, oh, they want to decide it's going to be here, and oh, we're having trouble coming to terms on this and that. It's a joke. It is such nonsense, okay? They make it seem like they battle each other, and meanwhile, behind the scenes, nobody gives a damn. For my friends in Australia, the Australian dollar has spiked nearly 30%. I didn't realize it was that much, but apparently it has really soared higher since March, defying the downturn. In March, the Australian dollar fell to a low of 57 cents against the greenback. Now, today, it's a very different scenario. This is obviously beneficial to those who have to buy basically anything in Australia, because when you've got everything priced in US dollars and you've got a weak currency, even if it's domestic, you have problems. There's no doubt about it. This affects you in every single way, and those who live outside of the United States really know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to touch on this quickly. It's a Bloomberg article, and then I'm going to move on, finish the video off. I'm not going to be able to cover the information in here in depth, but about a tenth of the American households have reported that they haven't had enough food in a given week, and that one is just truly unfortunate. You think, you've got Amazon stock and Apple stock and all these people making money hand over fist, or at least their assets are appreciating. They probably haven't cashed out on that. But anyway, this is just showing you that there's this huge divide in between the haves and the have-nots, and it is clearly obvious right here.
There you go. It sort of worked that time. I think it's really interesting when you look at what's going on in the economy, and what he didn't touch on there is what's happening in the South China Sea. If people start throwing rocks and lead at each other in the South China Sea, a whole lot of other things are going to happen. We have thus far been reasonably insulated from what's going on in China, because they desperately need iron ore and coal, and we are digging it up and shipping it to them fast. So at some point, if it gets really ugly over there, that will stop as well, because you won't be able to get any boats through the South China Sea, and there'll be an embargo on raw materials going into China. But it is what it is. Sadly, that's something that you and I and those of us on this call don't have control over. All we can do is deal with the flack of what comes out of that, exactly as they did in World War I and World War II. It will be interesting when it starts, and I think it will start. If anyone's watched what's happening in Mongolia, the Chinese government have attempted to stop Mongolians using their own language in schools and universities, and that has started a bunch of pushback from the population. They won't have it. They don't want to be Chinese. They are Mongolian. And lots of other things happening over there where people are protesting and doing whatever they can to make sure that they get involved and keep their society where they want it to be. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is how our gold business works. We've been talking about the 3 stages of how to hunt for your freedom, Physical gold is one of them, digital gold is another, and the third leg to make it stable is trading. Now, we've been working on this for some weeks. We now have multiple options for our trading platform. We have multiple options for our physical gold, and we have multiple options for digital gold. So we're working on a process that works in our favour here in Australia. We're at the opposite side of the earth from Germany. I mean, we could be further away, but it'd be difficult. And one of the things that we've always tried to do in Gold Rocks is to make sure that our members get looked after. And we've noticed recently that there were a lot of issues that we could not resolve when we're trying to talk to someone in Germany. So we look forward to helping you earn your future in gold, and that's what our team at Gold Rocks is setting out to do. So if you have commission, if you log into your Carat Bars website and you have commission sitting down on the right-hand side in pending, you need to make sure you get your new cards sorted. I know it's painful. I've been on this bus for a while. There is still, I'm going to say 90% of our members that haven't either had the email or don't have a working card. It's a football going backwards and forwards between card services and Carat Bars. You get an email back from card services and they say it's not our problem, you need to talk to Carat Bars. You send an email to Carat Bars, they tell you to talk to card services. I've gone backwards and forwards probably 6 or 7 times, and now they're taking more than a week to respond to an email, but they're not actually answering the questions. So there's a lot of the leaders in Europe and America that haven't been paid, so they're jumping up and down or just starting to make noises now. Let's see how that goes, but please keep an eye on it. If you haven't got your information yet, I know there was a bunch of people last week that sent me an email. If you haven't sent me an email or you haven't spoken directly to Roger, Roger's on the job there and is beating people with sticks and doing all that sort of thing, trying to get as many people hooked up with this card as we possibly can. You cannot get paid the commission that's in your pending account unless you have one of those cards. So, Freebay, founded in June of 2020. So let's talk about some of the issues. I know that the gold delivery times have got to the absolutely ridiculous. And whilst I can make some allowance for COVID, I can make some allowance for changing location, for changing branding, all of that stuff, but I can't make an allowance for 3 or 4 months. We've got issues in Carat Bit. We can't still have that resolved, and that is giving me heartburn, and I get rather grumpy apparently when I get heartburn. The KYC problems and issues, I've got people that still, they send their KYCs in and they get knocked back, and it's exactly as required, and the company won't tell them why they're not getting approved. So I'm a little bit over that. And the biggest thing for me is we don't have information coming out. I'm completely over it. We have been begging, we've jumped up and down, we've been shouting from rooftops, all that sort of stuff. We're not getting the information. So I've turned over a leaf that says, don't make any decisions on what they're doing until you have the information. I'm not guessing anymore. The information I'm seeing in YouTube videos and on Facebook is completely horrendously wrong because none of it actually adds up. You can't join it together. So with those things in mind, what if we had an Australian option? What if we had an option to get Australian gold delivered in an affiliate program? And what if we had independent trading? Now, we've been talking about options with trading for a while. We've been working on that. We're very happy with the options that we've now got. And again, I still can't get information on what they're talking about with crypto data. So I'm not going to be backed into a corner again. I will obviously always be around for people that just want to stay with Freebay and go down that road. Happy to help, happy to be there, happy to help with what we know. But I'm not going to be held accountable by a company that has just point blank refused to give us information. I find that absolutely criminal. So I joined a gold business. I did not join a training business. I'm not going to go and sell data packs that are a course that you've got to spend 6 hours online doing and then sit an exam. I joined for the gold. So we've been looking for some alternatives, how we could convert what we've got back into a gold business, and we now have one. So we have a local option. It is a bullion company here in Australia. They store the gold here in Australia. They will keep it vaulted for you. It's insured. If you want the gold delivered, you need to have at least half an ounce to get it delivered. But when you ask for it to be delivered, it'll be delivered in 2 days, 48 hours. And it's delivered by Toll IPEC, and the insurance costs 0.8% of the value that they're shipping you. And the freight is cheap. It's $25 delivery plus the insurance cost. So it's way, way cheaper than anything we've had from Europe. And I'm loving the fact that we'll be able to actually call up and say, where's my gold? And we will know. 2-day delivery, free storage. They can arrange if you get to be like Mr. Dobson and have 5 kilos of gold stashed somewhere, they will arrange for you to have a vault, and they insure it. So if there's a fire, an earthquake, lightning strike, and your gold all melts, it is insured. And yes, we can get a copy of the insurance. How good would that be? No more KYC issues. So I don't know that we've solved all the problems, but at this point we've still got some ongoing meetings to work out some minor details. But I just love the fact that when I proposed it to them, they generally don't do gold like this, but they could see that we were passionate about getting small increments of gold for our people, and they, under sufferance, agreed to do it. So we'll still be able to have a gold savings program. It will be stored here in Australia. They have offices in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. They don't have one in Adelaide. I told them that's all right. Brad Seravalli was going to be sending lots of red wine to compensate. So it's a really, really good time to think about why we joined this business. I joined for the gold. Was the thing that Brent got me with. They always meet their timelines, and it's gold. And we've seen that deteriorate over the last few months to the point where it's really frustrating. So we've got to give our members the opportunity to go back to the basics of why we joined. We got gold. Yep, we got gold. And we can get gold here in Australia, and it will be in amounts and sizes that we can afford. And it's a cheaper option than the one we had before. There's also a commission structure, so everything will run pretty much like it was before. We're just working out the details on how that actually comes together and what it will look like. So, looking at the future, Australian supply insulates us. I cannot tell you how many hours in a week I spend on the phone and sending emails so that I'm just trying to find out where is somebody's gold order. It's difficult. And it just doesn't help when you spend so much of your time chasing that. we shouldn't have to do that. It should be there all the time. We've got independent trading now. We can absolutely go down the road of crypto robotics if that's something that someone wants to do. We've had a little bit of experience at trying that. We've got some very, very good alternatives, however, that are much simpler to drive. And I've got to tell you, they are really, really turning me on with how much they can get through. Yes, Miss Hilda, this gold we can ship to New Zealand. I think it takes a day longer. So the gold will ship directly into New Zealand. Are they automated? Yes, the Kiwi solution will work. What automated, Brad? The trading, yes, they are completely automated. You don't have to sit in front of the computer, and it operates outside of that. And no, Ms. Art Hub, I hope that's Gloria. I'm going to say it's Gloria. No, the money is not gone. The reason we've gone down this road is we can take the assets that are already in the carrot bars, carrot bit environment, and we can extract it and do something with it and create cash flow for ourselves. So no, we're not walking away from it. I'm not telling anybody to just walk away. That's a bad idea. We've all got assets there. We need to turn those assets into money. And that's what this that we're talking about tonight is all about. It's about getting access to what we've got so that we have control and not Europe. That's all. The carrot bit environment where our KBC are, when that rolls over supposedly on the 15th of October, we hope that that's when it will happen. We will get access to it. We can convert it to whatever platform that we want and create money with it. And that's why we joined this business. It's quite interesting when you get into what we have done and noticed where the whole process has gone. So, yeah, Harry, they're telling me that they're still shipping gold from Germany, but I'm having a little bit of a problem believing that, given that I've got people that have been chasing gold for months. So we're a little ways off from having the Australian option where you can auto save it in Australia, but we're not that far off. I've got the contracts and the forms that they've sent me for us to order. So we'll see how quickly we can get it operating. Have some meetings on Thursday about it. I'm excited because this gives us the opportunity to have control of what we're doing. I'm excited by it. So thanks, Camilla. Yes, Maxine. Brad saying he's still waiting on a June order. I know there's numbers of people that have been waiting for gold deliveries, and that's I can't tell you all how much time I spend in a day to trying to get sense out of Germany about where's the gold. It's difficult. So yes, Harry, it does give us independence. We can still use the carrot bar system if there's something there we want to use, or the freebase system. Absolutely. This is not a jump in or jump out option. This is an option for people to get access and get control. You should, rather than being on the phone. Yeah, exactly. So no one knows where it is, right? iPhone, if you can tell me what that question is that you're asking. No one knows where it is. So the issues we're talking about, freight, were Dave lending gold. Dave lending gold. Pending gold. Pending gold. The gold that's supposedly being shipped, we know it hasn't left Germany yet. So in my back office, not shipped but paid for. Okay, right. No, that gold is fine. It's sitting there in your back office, and it's a matter of putting in a withdrawal request, and then we'll see where that comes out of. They're supposedly going to have all that gold shipment caught up by October 15th, but it's the 7th of September now. That doesn't give them much time. Brad still chasing up phones and laptops with the Australian. Can we do that in a super fund name? Yes, you can. It is audited and can be checked, etc. Yes, Grant, they're talking about it coming as life cards, but I can't get sense out of them. So we are, I've got to tell you, I'm excited by this. It makes a massive difference once you realise that you're taking back control. I wasn't interested in doing this until we could not get answers. I absolutely have not had any interest at all in going down this road. But when I can't pick up the phone and get an answer, when I go round and round in circles for a day, okay, now I'm annoyed. Now we have control. And this gives us the ability for all of us to have access to a gold savings program that will work. The gold is here. And the best thing about this program, if you've got like Brent, 5 kilos of gold in storage and you decide that you want to go and buy a house, they will buy it back off you without you having to ship it anywhere. You don't have to freight it, don't have to worry about where it's going to go. They will pay you cash for it at the current market price. It is a great opportunity for us to take back control of our gold savings plan. Yes, it looks like it will be an affiliate program, and we're trying to massage it into a similar shape to carrot bars so that people don't have to go through and learn the whole thing all over again. But there is a process there for affiliate commission on the gold. And yes, it's exactly the same quality as carrot bars, 999.9, 24 carat. So very, very, very happy, I can tell you. Brad, I've got them to come down to 1 gram in sizes, and they go all the way up to 10 kilo bricks, I think, in the gold. So obviously, if someone like Brent that wants 5 or 10 kilo bricks, then you probably have to put in an order and wait. But yes, it is all LBMA certified, Roger. 125.5, yep. So it's right from 1 gram up. I'm hoping that they may even give us the ability down the road to do a 0.1 gram that we can stick into a note or something like that if we choose to. And in time, yes, we will have silver in the same program. So it gives everybody the opportunity to really get control of everything that's happened. So yes, Maxine, I think silver is a great thing as well. So we just need to sort out the bumps and crinks in the gold program, and then what we'll do is I think we'll be able to swap straight into adding silver to the program as well once we get the technicalities of storage and all that sort of stuff sorted. So I've had a number of phone calls with them I made the phone call really Friday morning, and that began a thought process for 2 hours, walking around in circles, talking to the dog about whether I should make another phone call. And it went on from there, and I got a call back about 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon to say, yes, we'll do it. So they were not interested in dealing with a big mob of people buying 1 gram at a time, but we've shown them a way they can do it with software, and it should all be fine. So how they actually handle a 1 gram sale is they take 1 gram out of their stash and they put it in a pending area. so they know that you've bought a gram of gold, so that gold is pulled immediately and stashed on the shelf. You can call up at any time and say, ship me all my gold, and they will stick it on Toll IPEC and deliver it to you. It is an amazingly good option. We'll be talking to them down the road about some other technical things, like possibly a digital option as well. So I'm really excited about it. It just gives us control of what we've been trying to do for a while. And they've been around about 15 years, I think, Brad. I'd have to look that up. I haven't actually thought to write that down. I know they have been around a while. Yeah, Dan says about that time. They've been around. They're a big brand in the bullion area, but they tend to do, someone comes in and buys a ton of silver and they store it for them. So they were a little bit edgy about dealing in 1 gram lots, but yes, Miss Shane, we will be working on that for you as of tomorrow, because we're trying to get that all tidied up. I want it all tidied up and out of the way in the next week or so, and we'll get Brent and Roger are going to be working on that as well. So I think we've just got ourselves now access to a program that will work simply and easily. We're not dealing with time zones and time lags and people that don't answer phones. Ms. Shane, I'll give you a call in the morning and I'll try and hook you up with Roger so that he can pick up that ball for us and see what we can do. Harry says, will we be able to sponsor overseas people? Yes, they will do overseas. They ship into the US and Europe now. So in theory, we haven't actually gone down that road yet, but it shouldn't be a problem. It's considerably cheaper than the Carrot Bay stuff as well. Carrot bars, sorry. Could we use your idea for physical and V999s from FeeBay for crypto digital? Yes, there's a possibility of going to a digital platform with these guys. They not impressed when I dropped I dropped that on them. But first of all, they just said, let's get this gold thing going, and then we will come back and we'll talk to you about that later. So thanks, Miss Hilda. Yeah, I'm pretty excited myself. Are you going to tie sponsorship into Gold Rock's platform? Are you going to tie sponsorship into Gold Rock? Right. Now I'm with you. That's probably a way to do it, Brad. Yeah, we'll hook it up and try and make it all work, try and do it as simply as we can. We've got a lot of work to do as far as the actual thought process of what to hook to what. But yeah, we should be able to do that, and we'll make it all work so that our referral links work, etc. So at the moment, there's no reason somebody couldn't be part of the Carrot Bars network, which is now the FeeBay network. But, that's everybody's choice. I'm not telling people they can't be or shouldn't be or anything like that. We'll help everybody. We've got a whole lot of people on this call. We've got to find gold for phones, laptops. And we've already made some moves to get Marg, I think it's a safe bet to say yes to cancelling your monthly auto ship or auto purchase. And we'll be doing a little video in the next few days about how to order the gold and get it shipped. I've been holding off because they keep telling us we could swap our gold into V999, which would be a nice outcome. Again, my issue with that is we can't get any answers on what the V999 is. We go round and round and round. I'm just over it. We need to get some traction so people can move on instead of going around in circles. Dan is saying this system will not be part of Carrot Bars. That's correct. We've worked on that pretty hard to make this independent. So we, the people in Australia, manage, if someone comes up with a good idea that maybe we can put into it, that will be that will be what we'll do. We'll have a great process. And yes, Rangi, yeah, that's my feeling as well. Look, we'll get on and go through a bit more, but if anyone's got any more questions they want to ask, just remember, don't panic, Jonesy, because now we got gold, baby. Couple of quick updates on the actual gold price. You can see there was a bit of a dip in the last 30 days, which everyone and all the analysts have decided that was normal. They fully expected it. And that's what our annual percentage is still. And watch this space. There's going to be a massive breakout in the coming weeks. And yes, Brad will be able to get questions answered in English. And at some point, they will have a full-time person that looks after us as a group. In the short term, it'll probably be Dan or Jan or myself or whoever we've got that has got the ability to answer the questions. One of the trading platforms that we've been experimenting with, all of their support tickets are answered by members. So it works out really well that the support tickets that go in get escalated up the ladder because nobody's getting paid to answer support tickets. So they want it dealt with as quickly as possible. Can you share that platform? So yeah, we'll be doing that over the weekend, Brad. We'll over the weekend. We've just gone over the weekend. As soon as we can get some links, it was actually a group. It's a group in South Africa that have started to do this. They were ex-Carrot Bars members. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, we're pretty excited to get some information and get it sent to everyone. We'll make sure that we can talk that through, and yeah, we've got just options now. We've got all sorts of options that we can use with our digital assets and now our physical assets. So if anyone wants to ask a question, you can unmute if you'd like to, or do we still need to join Freebay? Colin, I'm not going to say no, but really, if we're going to use an Australian gold program, I don't see a reason to. I don't see that I'm going to join Freebay. I noticed that somebody, I can't even remember who I was talking to today, said they had trouble on the Freebay site. So I'm just surprised that people don't understand. When they start a business like this, they don't understand that the people, the end users, are the ones that need to be looked after. Coralyn, Freebay was, no, it has a training program. You sell the training system and it's linked to their trading platform. So don't let me scare you off if you want to go down that road. I've been in and looked at it pretty heavily, and I'm decided I'm not going to go down that road. Mary, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I looked up on the internet at that Freebay.
Yes.
And I know I had the right site because it was that guy that did a lot of talking, Paul somebody. They do a lot with bankruptcies. That sort of put a bit of a chill down my spine.
No, there's a whole lot of Freebays on the internet.
Yeah, I know,
but
this
one
one had Paul whatever Muller that was talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I sort of thought, So I'm glad we're not doing that. Hooray for Australian.
Yep. Coralyn saying, what do we need to do for V999? And I'd love to be able to answer that, Coralyn, but I can't get an answer. I've tried repeatedly. I thought the V999 token was the best thing the company had done, but we cannot get a document, a piece of paper, anything on it at this point. Yes, Shane, all Carrot Bars affiliates were supposed to be Freebay members, but thus far, again, they haven't told us how that's going to happen, and people that I know that have tried to transfer have had to answer a whole lot of questions and do a whole nother round of KYCs. Yeah, the trading platform that's in Freebay is not cheap. So we're not looking for anything that's going to cost us money on a daily basis. Okay. So is that all we need to talk about? Taking all that on board, get some gold. The wealth principles still apply. So let's just make sure that we all understand what it is that we're here for. We're here in the gold business. And while you're here in the gold business, you can go to any one of these businesses and get some gold back on your transactions. And given that it's an Australian gold business that some of these will be tying into, I can't speak for all of them. I haven't had that conversation with them yet. But the issue we've had with some of these businesses about sending the gold that's been earned has been controlled in Europe, and we've been unable to do it. So I'm really glad that I don't know what really cracked me, but I was over it. So I got to going and sorting out something that'll work for everybody. And yes, Shane, I have had worse than those thoughts. So everybody, that's us for tonight. Unless there's some more questions. Anybody else? Yeah, gold was the reason I joined. Yeah, Stephen, I love that hat. So thanks everybody for joining us.
Derek?
We will have more information as it comes to hand. We will send it out by email, and we will make sure that everything happens and that we all know where we're going. So thanks everybody. Thanks Brad. Thanks Jenny. Yeah, Mr. Saravalli was the one that got me to spill the beans last time. Mr. Crampton, are you trying to ask a question?
Yeah, Derek, I was just going to say, and I hope I'm not putting my foot in the wrong place, but based on what you've said this evening and all the information you've just shared, I guess on behalf of the whole team, I'd just like to put out a verbal thank you to you for all your efforts and for everything you've been doing for us as a team. And as you mentioned, you've been on the phone for many, many hours chasing down this stuff, and you've had other people in the team also helping you out. Roger comes to mind. But yeah, it was just a quick thank you on behalf of everybody for what you've been doing. So,
thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you. It's been of absolute concern to me that we were going down a road that we just didn't have any control. And I was concerned about it some months ago, and it's just got worse. And when we finally joined a few dots on Friday, I can tell you that I was very happy. Yes, Miss Gloria, don't fret too much. We will work our way through this as this comes to fruition. But the thing you've got to remember is we now have control here in Australia. We're not being held to ransom by somebody in another country. I just can't go down that road anymore. So, thanks everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for participating and asking questions. Thanks for being here, and we will see you on the golden beaches of the world.